All right, so there is one more room that I want to make sure I point out to you here at Langwise.
Nah. Hey guys, I've been getting a lot of questions with my Lyme disease. There's been a lot of misinformation out there, and today I'm going to share my journey with you. In July is when it all started. I pulled a tick off me at the Estonian Open, and I pulled it off and didn't really think anything of it. I didn't have any symptoms. I had nothing going on at the time. I finished out my European tour, played the Estonian Open and the European Open, which I played pretty well, and I ended up getting third place in the major. And then, so I got back from Europe, and I went to Worlds, played Worlds. I had the infection on my finger. If you guys don't remember that, it was a big old infection, looked disgusting, and really inhibited my throw. But I fought through it, battled through it, and I almost came back from 11 strokes to win. I ended up getting second place, and so that was a really big accomplishment considering how hindered my swing and my throw was based on the infection in my finger. So take us to August when I got the infection, finished out Worlds, and after that was all done, I took the doxy to clear up the infection, which it did. It cleared up the infection at the time, and then, you know, later to turn out, you know, that I got bit by the tick in July. So that, you know, taking the doxy in August was after the tick bite. So that kind of, you know, to me, if doxy was going to work, that's what would be the time that it's going to work. But anyways, take us now to September in Vermont. So up till now, I haven't felt any symptoms. I haven't, you know, I'm basically continuing on with my tour like nothing happened, and it took us all the way to Vermont, the Green Mountain Championships. I played the first day, was feeling a little bit weird, just had no energy, and then steadily got worse through the tournament to where I remember trying to pick up my bag, and it felt like I was picking up a 500-pound weight or something because of how fatigued I was. I couldn't throw well. I remember I was just throwing about like 50% power. I was just kind of getting through, and just like I said, that fatigue slowly started setting in to where I could barely stand up. I was just chugging coffee. Like, that was the only way I could even compete in the tournament, just to get through. So I ended up getting through, cashed in the tournament, and I step up to my very last putt of the whole weekend, and I just completely airballed from like 10 feet away, and I've never done that in my life. Just didn't even come close to the basket. So it was just steadily getting worse throughout the round until that last putt, and I did that, and that was when something clicked in my head, like, all right, something's really wrong. And so then I finished the tournament, and I packed my stuff up, drove home, and, you know, I was driving, you know, I ended up driving down a wrong way street. I was so delusional. I was just, I don't really even know how I made it home. It was just a fog. I was in a fog the almost entire way, and I stopped. And at some point, I was kind of running through everything. I ran through all the symptoms and everything, and I ended up going in and getting a prescription for doxy. I picked up the doxycycline. I had it in my bag, in my car, and actually I still haven't took it to this day, but it was there. I had it as an option, and I was going to wait till I got home to talk to my parents and get everything situated. And so I was just thinking about that the whole ride through. Like, I have Lyme disease. I didn't know it for sure if I had it or not, but I was just thinking about it the whole 17 hours. And so then I got an email from Drew on the drive. I remember reading it, and I was like, wow, this could, like, I think I remember posting about it, like I maybe had Lyme. I wasn't 100% sure at the time. But anyways, I got an email from Drew saying, like, hey, I'm a nutritionist. I've had Lyme before, and I've basically had it under control for 10 years now. And so this is something where I feel like I can truly help you. And it was like a gift from God, almost, it seemed like, to have him reach out at the perfect time when I just needed it. So that'll take us to when he stepped in and really formed a game plan for me.
I decided to reach out to Ricky after one of my brothers actually texted and said, did you see Ricky's post? He thinks he has Lyme. So on Instagram, you had posted, I think I have Lyme, should I do antibiotics, or does anybody know of another route? Something to that effect. Uh-huh. And when I read that, I said, I know another route. So I reached out. The email that I sent, a little serendipitous, just because the month before, so in August I had signed up for the Sockibomb subscriptions. So I had a contact into the Sockibomb camp, if you will. So I just replied to the email that had said, hey, you've subscribed now. And I said, my name is Dr Detzner. Here's what I do professionally. When I was 25, I got Lyme. It derailed my life. I've overcome it through natural means. I tried all the standard Western medical route. To be more specific, because I know some people have asked about this, I took doxycycline for 30 days. I got cortisone injections in both my knees twice. I had fluid withdrawn from both knees twice. The total amount at each withdrawal was over 6 ounces. One of the times it was 12 ounces. So just do me a favor and think about withdrawing a can of soda from each one of your knees. I took ibuprofen. I tried all of those things. And it got to the point where the rheumatologist that I was working with said, well, we do have one more thing that you could do that's above and beyond cortisone, hydrocortisone, antibiotics, and ibuprofen, and that is a cancer drug. It's a form of chemotherapy. And I remember looking at the doc and saying, are you telling me I have knee cancer? And the doc said no, and I said, then I'm not going to take a cancer drug. So I started to research all the natural ways that we can support the body to fight against infections like Lyme, because Lyme is a particularly nasty infection. So that email I sent explaining that stuff, I got a response. I think it was from one of your sisters. And she said, I'm so glad you reached out to us. 200 people have reached out to us, but you're the only one with a natural approach. Here's Ricky's phone number. Would you please call him? He's on the road. Called him. He was driving. He said, I'm stopping for a pit stop soon. Can I call you back and we'll talk? That night we talked. We went over stuff. I basically re-explained everything I wrote in the email. Ricky had some really great questions about what I was proposing. I think one of the big things that Ricky heard me say that night was, I did the antibiotics, I did hydrocortisone, I did cortisone injections, I did ibuprofen, I did what Western medicine had to offer me. I did it within the first 48 hours of getting the tick on me and getting the tick off me. And I still had really severe symptoms that were unresolved by the Western medicine approach. Now I know without doubt that there are people who have done the Western medicine approach and it has been successful for them. I won't argue that. I'm not interested in saying that Western medicine's approach to handling Lyme is bad. I will not say that. What I know about Ricky's case was when he explained to me that the tick came off in July, I had followed him through Worlds on social media and I saw the doxycycline in August. If doxycycline was going to work for Ricky to handle Lyme, it would have done it when he took it for his finger. When we look at a lot of the different studies that are available, and you can look them up on Google Scholar if you have spare time, for the antibiotics to most likely be effective to handle Lyme, you need them administered within the first 72 hours of actually getting the tick bite and contracting Lyme. Well, since Ricky got the tick in July, by September when I actually reached out to him, it was too late for the antibiotic. The other thing that happened during that phone call with Ricky was he started to explain how he was feeling and some of the stuff he had been dealing with. The fatigue, the lack of mental clarity, the insomnia. And I told Rick that I thought that what he was dealing with went way beyond just Lyme, that I was concerned about things like thyroid function, adrenal fatigue, his immune system in general. You can ask any of the touring pros. It's a grind out there, and it absolutely takes a toll on the body. It takes a lot of support to counteract how much of a grind it is to be a touring professional athlete, especially one that's driving around by himself. It was after I went through all of that, and I think and you can correct me if I'm wrong, I think what Rick heard me saying was we have to look at the bigger picture of what's going on with you while this Lyme thing is likely happening. We need to get an assessment of Lyme. We need to do some blood work. We need to do some saliva analysis, some hair analysis, a really thorough workup. But I was not convinced that it was just Lyme that Ricky was dealing with. So after doing the analysis, so on Ricky's case, we did blood work right away, we did saliva analysis right away, we did hair analysis right away, and we did urine analysis right away. So this was as thorough as you can get.
Yeah.
What we found on Ricky's case was that Lyme was absolutely present. On his blood work, he had a number of antibodies showing up. On the blood work, the urine, and the saliva analysis, we found that there were multiple fungal infections all occurring at the same time. On the hair analysis and the saliva analysis, we also found that there was severe adrenal exhaustion occurring. So in Rick's case, in September of 2019, he was dealing with Lyme, he was dealing with multiple fungal infections, and he was dealing with adrenal exhaustion. My name is Dr Detzner. I'm a clinical nutritionist that's based out of Brookfield, Wisconsin at Langlois Vital Nutrition Center. I've been with the team here at Langlois since 2007. I'm a graduate of Valparaiso University. My greatest joy in the work that I do is taking people who are not feeling well and getting them to where they are truly feeling well through nourishing their body and through supporting the functioning of their body. So I was asked to give you a list of all the different studies that I've done over the years, the places that I've studied. So I'm a graduate of Valparaiso University. I've also studied at ULAN Nutritional Systems down in Clearwater, Florida. I've studied with Trinity College of Natural Health in Warsaw, Indiana. I've let them lapse, but at one point in time I had 2 personal training certifications from the International Sports Science Academy. Studying is something I love doing, and I feel that a big part of my job is teaching. And as soon as I'm not willing to be a student, I'm going to stop being a teacher. Food-wise, what we've done to support Rick's body and its function is a pretty drastic reduction in sugar. The sugars that Rick gets nowadays are going to be from fruits, from veggies. It's not going to be refined sugars like high fructose corn syrup or corn syrup, no white sugar basically, no processed sugar, no bleached sugar. The sugar that he gets is from beets and carrots and apples, that sort of thing. So that's what we did on the food side to reduce sugar. We also increased his protein intake. I really emphasized quality of protein and not just quantity. So when Rick has beef, it's grass-fed. When he eats chicken, it's pasture-raised. Basically, these animals are living in the environment they were designed to live in, not in some mega-producing
factory.
And Rick's always been great about this. But like, you need organic veggies, you need a ton of them. We're talking in the range of 6 to 8 cups a day. So when I said, Rick, you need 6 to 8 cups of organic vegetables a day, the next thing I would get is texts from him, and it was his shopping cart. And the front half of his shopping cart was filled with organic produce.
World champion mindset. You gotta stick with the game plan.
The other half of the cart was pasture-raised eggs, grass-fed beef, pasture-raised chicken, turkey, grass-fed lamb, whatever.
All that good stuff, yeah.
He just did it. There was no Cherry Garcia in the cart anymore.
Yeah,
which was good.
Sadly.
And when we put those 3 things together, it really shifted the direction his body was going. Something that's common in adrenal exhaustion cases, this is kind of a side note, they crave sugar more commonly just because it's a really quick fuel, and they're so tired that they like that quick lift they get from the sugar. I do think it's good to talk about the supplements that Rick has been on, because supplements are just like automobiles, they're just like clothing and shoes, they're just like paint. There is a huge industry behind those products, and they are not all created equal. And when we put together supplement programs for people, we need to consider that not all supplements are created equally, and that they all have interactions with one another. One of the most common ones I can give an explanation of, so people understand where I'm coming from, is that we often hear that vitamin D is really important for our body to actually use calcium. That's something that medical doctors have said for decades. Every nutrient, every mineral, every vitamin, they all have interactions with other nutrients, other vitamins and minerals, and we need to consider those things when we put together a supplement program for somebody. So Rick's program was not just, oh, you're deficient in a bunch of stuff, all the analyses we did showed that, take a ton of stuff. His initial program was actually quite small because he was in really bad shape, so we had to ease him into the process. I believe that to Rick's system, it was actually a little bit of a shock to change what we did with sugar and protein and vegetables. So the last thing I wanted to do is overwhelm his system with dramatic supplement programs. So Rick's first supplement program was actually just 4 supplements a day.
Mm-hmm.
And I really emphasized, hey, we have to change the food stuff first. I'll give you the best supplement program anybody in the world can put together. It will be ineffective without good food. So what Rick did first was he made sure that the food was good, and then we targeted his body's needs with a certain supplement program.
All my symptoms that from the Lyme were insomnia, weight loss. I think I lost like 20 pounds, which I'm not really, I don't have that much weight to lose, so losing 20 pounds of my size is detrimental. I couldn't stand up at one point. I had to walk with a cane. My fingers would have went completely numb. They stiffened up to where I could not move my hands or fingers. And as a professional athlete, I woke up crying that day. My sister didn't know what to do. Woke up, a grown man woke up crying and didn't, my fingers were frozen up and I thought my career was over. So that was the mindset I was in, and up until now, fast forward to where I'm completely have all kinds of natural energy. I recover faster. My mental clarity during tournaments is at an all-time high. I can consistently compete, I feel like, at the highest level and win tournaments and even be a better player once I am on this program and continuously sticking with this health and wellness game plan. And that's the most important thing to me, is just seeing what I felt like in September and not wanting to ever feel like that up until now. And that makes me want to go through and, like Drew said, make every little detail perfect in my diet, in my supplement, and just go through this game plan as best as I can. And so just the way I feel now, like I said, the mental clarity is the most important thing to me, and just being able to walk, being able to move my fingers, being able to compete and do what I do is amazing, and it's been a life-changing experience, and it's something I'm so glad I made this decision to go this route, and it's going to be life-changing for every aspect of my life for the better. Thank you guys so much for listening to my Lyme journey. I really hope you enjoyed the information we gave you. This is something that really means a lot. I'm super passionate about a lot of this stuff now, and I thank you for all the support and people that were skeptical. Hopefully you learned something and really saw my situation that I made from my eyes, and that's really all that matters to me. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave a comment below or send me a direct message, and I'd be glad to help you out. Thanks again for your support. Sockibomb is back.